Did you know that most of the things older people regret the most in life are not the things they did, but the things they missed? There are lessons they should have learned much earlier, but no one ever told them. And the remarkable thing is, these lessons don't come from books, but from real experiences, from tears shed, and from the late smiles of understanding. If you are in your 60s, 70s, or even older, then every moment you listen today could change the way you live the rest of your life. So before I share with you these 7 profound lessons, I have one small request. Please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel right now. When you do, YouTube will know you want to keep receiving valuable advice created especially for our age. And to let me know you're truly here with me, leave a comment with the number 1 if you want to live healthier and happier starting today, or the number 0 if you believe you already know enough. I will be so glad to see your number in the comments. Because what I'm about to share is not just advice, it is the truth that so many people wish they had understood earlier. Thomas survived, but afterward he became dependent on medications, on his blood pressure monitor, on regular checkups. He sighed and told me, "If only I had realized sooner. Money can never replace health. I traded away the best years of my life to earn money, and then I used that money to buy pills." Hearing his story, I realized a truth all of us should carve deeply into our hearts. When we are young, we are willing to sell our health for money, but when we are old, we are willing to sell our money to buy back health. And the tragedy is, money cannot always buy it. If you are watching this video right now, I hope you pause for a moment and ask yourself, do you truly value your health? Do you get enough sleep, take daily walks, eat healthy, or do you keep telling yourself, "I'll start tomorrow"? After 70, every small habit can decide how many more years you will live in strength and peace. Remember this, no one on their deathbed ever said, "I wish I had worked more." But countless people have whispered, "I wish I had taken care of my health sooner." So if you are hearing this today, take it both as a warning and as an opportunity. Stand up, take a deep breath, and choose a healthier lifestyle, even if it's just one small change. Health is not everything, but without health, nothing else matters. And as I left Thomas's house that day, one question kept echoing in my mind. If health is the greatest asset, then what comes second? The answer came from an elderly lady named Eleanor, 78 years old, living in a small town in Ohio. Eleanor had once been a gentle, devoted elementary school teacher, loved by generations of her students. But when she retired, she sank into years of regret. She told me that all her life she had thought, "When I retire, I'll travel, I'll learn music, I'll finally take time for myself." But she never did. She let the days slip by, year after year, until old age arrived, her legs no longer steady, her eyesight dim, her health too frail to allow it. She held my hand and said, "If only I had realized sooner that time is the most precious gift. You cannot save it for tomorrow, and tomorrow is never guaranteed." Hearing her words, I felt my heart tighten. Truly, after the age of 70, every morning you wake up healthy, able to see the sun, able to take a step, is already a gift that many no longer have. And I want you, the one watching this video, to ask yourself, are you wasting your precious time on little things, on worries that don't matter, on postponing happiness for someday? I remember Eleanor smiling sadly and saying, "If I could turn back time, I would live every day to the fullest. I would call that old friend instead of just thinking about it. I would hold my grandchildren more instead of fussing over house chores. I would go watch one more sunset instead of sitting in regret." The second lesson is simple, yet painful. Time waits for no one. You can regret money, you can regret energy, but you will never be able to buy back a single day once it's gone. So use it as if every day were your last chance to live true to what you desire. As I left Eleanor's home, I thought of another man, Harold, now 82, living in Texas. All his life, Harold had been a factory worker, hard-working, diligent, enduring. He told me that throughout his working years, he often thought, I'll spend whatever I earn. As long as I'm strong, I'll keep making money. Saving can wait. It sounded reasonable, but when he turned 70, his health no longer allowed him to keep working, and everything began to collapse. He looked at me, his eyes tinged with bitterness. I wish I had known sooner that money is not only for spending, it is the shield that protects your old age. When you no longer have the strength to work, it's the money you've saved that gives you freedom and peace. Harold's story is not rare. Many people only realize after 70 that they have no emergency fund, no insurance, and no clear financial plan. They are forced to depend on their children, or worse, fall into hardship in the very years they should be resting. This not only burdens them, but also places a heavy burden on their families. Harold recalled one memory that still haunts him. Once, his daughter needed financial support for college, but at that moment, he didn't even have a small savings account to offer. He had to borrow money, take on debt, and for years afterward, he carried guilt for not being the pillar his daughter needed. He sighed and said, I wish I had understood that being financially responsible isn't about becoming wealthy. It's about not becoming a burden. Hearing his words, I thought about how many people spend freely, believing tomorrow will always come, believing they'll always be able to earn more. But one day, when health leaves you, you will realize that every dollar you wasted was a lost opportunity to protect yourself. This third lesson is for all of us. Learn to manage your finances early, save early, and invest early. You don't need to have much, only a clear plan. Because it's not just about money, it's about peace of mind, dignity, and the gift you give to your own old age. After hearing Harold's story about money, I remembered Ruth, a 79-year-old woman living in Ohio. Ruth had been an elementary school teacher, dedicating her whole life to her students and her family. But there was one thing she never thought about when she was young: loneliness. When I met her, her small house was silent, filled only with the ticking of a clock and the creaking of a rocking chair. She told me that in her younger years, she had many friends. Every night, someone would invite her out to dance, to socialize, or simply to sit on the porch and chat. But slowly, her closest friend moved to another state. Others drifted away. Some passed on. And then one day, she realized she had no one left to call, no one to invite out for coffee. Ruth sighed and said, You know, money can't buy a true friend. I wish I had realized sooner that investing in friendship is just as important as investing in health or in finances. Many elderly people admit that loneliness is the silent pain they endure every day. Studies even show that loneliness can be as dangerous as smoking or obesity because it increases the risk of heart disease, depression, and can even shorten your lifespan. Even more frightening, loneliness doesn't strike suddenly. It creeps in slowly, little by little, and by the time you realize it, it has already become a shadow covering your old age. Ruth shared that once she had fallen mildly ill, she only needed someone to drive her to the hospital. But she sat waiting all day, calling, and no one picked up. In that moment, she realized that a phone call, a simple check-in, is sometimes more precious than any gift. She said, I wish I had kept in touch more often. I wish I had been more proactive in maintaining friendships, instead of thinking they would last on their own. Her story is a reminder to all of us. Don't let your old age be drowned in silence. Cherish your friends while you still can. Make the call, send the message, invite them for a walk. Friendship doesn't need to be loud. It only needs presence, sharing. That is the medicine for loneliness, and one of the secrets to living longer, living happier. When talking about loneliness, I was reminded of James, an 84-year-old man in Texas. He had once been a mechanic, well known in town for his cheerful spirit and quick humor. But James's life held a sorrowful chapter that any of us may one day face: the loss of a life partner. He told me that he and his wife, Ellen, had been together for 56 years. They met at church when they were young, raised 3 children together, endured financial struggles, and weathered years of illness. Ellen had always been his emotional anchor. But then, a stroke took her away, leaving behind a void that nothing could fill. James confided, "I always thought I was strong, but when Ellen passed, it felt like half of my life was gone. I wish I had told her I loved her more often. I wish I had spent more time with her instead of being so busy making a living." As he said this, James's eyes turned red, but he smiled. "The lesson I learned is that love isn't found in grand gestures, but in the little moments, a hand to hold, a hug, a simple dinner together. That is what I miss the most." Studies also show that those who have a strong marriage or a reliable life partner often live longer, enjoy more stable mental health, and face lower risks of heart disease. But this lesson isn't only for those blessed with a happy marriage. It is also for those who have endured loss, like James. Because love never truly disappears. It only changes form. When your partner passes, love remains in the memories, in the children, and in your own heart. After many years of grief, James eventually learned to step back into life. He joined a senior club, played chess, shared stories, and even taught neighborhood kids how to fix their bikes. He said, "I can't replace Ellen, but I can honor her by continuing to live, by sharing love with others." The lesson James leaves us with is simple yet profound. Never wait until it's too late to express love. And if you have lost your partner, let that love become the strength to keep living kindly and fully. Love does not end when someone departs. It only shifts into another form, and it can still be the light guiding the rest of your years. I also remember vividly an elderly woman named Helen, now 91, living in Ohio. She had once been an elementary school teacher, a job she deeply loved. But for many years, she carried bitterness toward her own brother. Why? When their parents passed away, her brother kept the inherited family home without dividing it fairly. That betrayal left Helen feeling wounded, and from then on, the 2 siblings did not speak for over 30 years. When I asked her if she ever felt lighter after cutting off contact, she gave a sad smile. "No. Every time I thought about it, my heart only grew heavier. I thought I had won, but in truth, I was the one who lost, because I let the past imprison me." What moved me deeply was that, at 87 years old, when she happened to see her brother again at a family gathering, she chose to embrace him instead of turning away. Through her tears, she said, "We wasted almost an entire lifetime over one house. But now, I just want us to walk the rest of the road together as brother and sister." Helen's story is living proof that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing what happened. It means freeing your own heart. Studies also show that those who forgive tend to have more stable blood pressure, less stress, and even longer lifespans. Holding on to hatred is like drinking poison and hoping someone else will suffer. Helen confided, "If I could go back to when I was 50, I would forgive sooner. Because the older you get, the more you realize time is not infinite. We cannot take money with us, nor can we carry grudges. The only thing left is peace in the soul." The lesson here is for all of us who have already walked through more than half of life. Let go of old burdens. Forgiveness is not just giving others a second chance. It's giving yourself the chance to live the rest of your life with a lighter heart. One autumn day, as I sat with Helen on a wooden chair on her porch, she looked at the falling yellow leaves and said, "You know, when a person reaches 90, what troubles them is no longer money nor fame. The only question that lingers in the heart is this: what have I left behind for this world?" Helen shared that after a lifetime of teaching, she never became wealthy. But every time a former student visited her and called her the second teacher of my life, her eyes lit up. "That is my true inheritance," she said. "Not a house, not a bank account, but the young hearts I once touched." It reminded me of a famous saying, "We cannot take wealth with us, but we can leave behind values. For Helen, that legacy was her love for her students, her family, and her community. For each of us, it might be the lessons we teach our children, the example we set through our character, or simply the kindness we show to a neighbor. She looked at me and added, "What I regret most is not that I didn't have more money. It's that I didn't say I love you more often to the people around me." Don't wait until it's too late to realize that the greatest legacy we leave behind is love. And it's true. Science has proven that people who live with clear purpose and meaning tend to live longer and healthier. Because when you know why you exist, your heart has a reason to keep beating strong each day. This final lesson is not just the message of a 92-year-old woman. It is a truth for all of us. Live each day as if it were a chance to plant seeds, to leave shade for the next generation. For none of us wants to depart and be forgotten. We all long to leave behind some imprint, however small, in the hearts of those who remain. So today, we have walked together through 7 lessons that so many people only wish they had known sooner. Treat your health as a treasure. Cherish every moment. Manage your money wisely. Choose and nurture true friendships. Protect and express love, and learn to face loss. Forgive and let go of the past. And finally, seek the true meaning of life. All of these may sound simple, but together they are the foundation for an old age free of regrets. Years that can be lived fully, peacefully, and with joy. If you are still young, start applying these lessons now, so that one day you won't have to utter the words, "if only." And if you are already in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, remember this. It is never too late to change, to love, and to live a life of true value. And I want to ask you, among these 7 lessons, which one do you feel you need to apply starting today? Leave a number from 1 to 7 in the comments to let me know which touched you the most. If you resonate with all of them, type the number 7, because perhaps you, too, are stepping into the deepest, most meaningful chapter of your life. If this video has given you something to reflect on, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next videos. Because in the upcoming video, we will listen to 9 pieces of wisdom from elders who have gone before us. Simple truths that can completely change the way you live the rest of your life. Old age is not the end of the book. It is the most beautiful chapter, if you know how to write it. So let us continue this journey together. I'll see you in the next video.